Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efening. Great Malabite, good morning.
Good morning, Ruben.
You are very excited. Don't need to say it. I already know that you are excited.
Yes, the return of Victoria. Tundu MK Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Efening. I'm glad to be back.
Always bright and beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, Genix.
Genix.
Yes.
Good morning.
Ruben, you are blessed in the midst of women.
Oh, yes. I've been arranging a special photograph after you have left the studio.
Ruben.
Just be three of us.
Ruben, for you, is a familiar scenario.
Oh, goodness.
You don't want to go there.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Fire.
I've not said anything. Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Electoral Bill. Senate mobilizes to override President's veto. House differs battled till January. Over 75 senators signed proposal. More expected. Yes, this day is reporting that we have not heard the last of President Muhammadu Buhari's refusal to assent to the 2021 Electoral Act Amendment Bill. As the senators are bracing up for what you may call a fight. But the Senate of Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Senate President, who has said, we always do what pleases the President. I'm paraphrasing him now. I don't know whether he will. Well, the senators, if they want it, the Senate President cannot stop it. But again, between now and January, where they are pushing the fight to, a lot of water can pass under the bridge. But from the House of Representatives, where Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, the senator from Lagos State, is the presiding officer, I think he said they're not going to throw away the baby and the bathwater. The bathwater, the dirty bathwater in this case, the controversial imposition of direct primaries as the only way for political parties in Nigeria to pick their candidates. That is the dirty bathwater. Of course, the baby, the other beautiful, well-intentioned clauses that have been added and amended to ensure that our elections are free, fair, and credible, and of course, transparent. How do you separate the baby and the dirty bathwater in this case? I will ask Gbajabiamila. Perhaps he has an idea, but that does not seem to be in consonance with what the Senate or the mood in the Senate where they want to override the president. But that will be the day if the 9th Senate can do that. Of course, all other papers are reporting this story. Still on the front page of this day, of course, Fayemi Autumn praised Buhari for withholding assent to bill. CSO's SAD warned Parliament to overrule President. Now, the Guardian newspaper is also reporting this story. Electoral Bill. Senators delay recess, collect signatures to override Buhari, will decide next line of action in 2022, says Gbajabiamila. You have 30 days to override president or remove contentious clauses from bill. CSOs to National Assembly. Falana, Buhari a beneficiary of direct primaries. Reason for rejecting bill, misleading. We are not scared of direct primaries. Governors insist. President has rubbished democracy, says NC Front. The Punch newspaper also reporting this story. Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Senators threaten to override President Buhari. Governors back President. Buhari's reason for declining assent, fallacious. Senate spokesman, Governors Forum, hails rejection of bill, says President's argument tenable. The Daily Sun newspaper. Electoral Bill. Senators press to override President. course, other stories on the front page of the Daily Sun newspaper include Anambra Goba election petition tribunal relocates to Ilorin. Nullification of Andy Uba's candidature vindicates us. Soludo, the governor-elect of Anambra State, is saying that. Now, below the photograph, 2023, INEC insists on use of BVAS technology for future elections. But I hope INEC will be able to get over the kind of dilly-dally we saw during the Anambra election. Because if that kind of problem happens in a nationwide election, there will be chaos in a number of states. So I hope they have also taken into consideration the shortcomings of the operation of the BVAS, so that we don't see that next time. Of course, next port of call is the Ekiti governorship election, and we hope we'll see improvement in the deployment and use of BVAS in the Ekiti election, to give us hope that indeed BVAS has come to stay, to give our election more credibility. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, Buhari under fire for not assenting to the bill. Now, under the photograph, of course, the photograph in front page of the Daily Independent, as we have also in this day, is President Muhammadu Buhari being vaccinated for the booster dose of COVID-19 vaccine by his personal physician, Suliab Rafindadi, at the presidential villa yesterday. So, booster dose is here. If you are due for your booster, go ahead and take it. And if you have not taken the vaccine at all, you are not helping yourself, you are not helping the country. So I urge one and all out there to go and take your vaccine. It's available. If the vaccines were not available, we'll be criticizing and attacking the government for not doing enough. Now it is available. Citizens, please play your own part on this. Just go there and take the vaccine. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, Electoral Bill, senators collect signatures to override Buhari. Now, below the photograph, El-Rufai meets Buhari, says bandits must be killed. Yes, El-Rufai, the governor, Nasir El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State. Now, the Business Day newspaper, 2021 in review. Nigeria's borrowing lacked ambition in 2021. For a country with Nigeria's infrastructure deficit, the government should borrow more, given its paltry revenue, but its utilization of the little it borrows and even earns has left a trail of criticism that has suppressed the need for more ambitious borrowing that can give the sleepy economy a leg up. Of course, they were also quoting Akinwumi Adesina, president of the African Development Bank, who said the country needs $100 billion annually for 30 years to close the infrastructure deficit in Nigeria. That comes to 41 trillion naira a year. And of course, that amount is even more than the budget. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, Electoral Amendments Bill, 76 senators vow readiness to override Buhari's veto. Then below the photograph, insecurity. Nations' insecurity agencies can't cope. El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, is making that point, saying that we need to recruit more soldiers, more policemen, if we are to take care of the widespread insecurity, because the Nigerian army, the Nigerian police, currently, they are overstretched, but they are still doing their bit. Now, the leadership newspaper, Electoral Bill, National Assembly, divided over plan to override President Muhammadu Buhari. We have collected 73 signatures so far. Senator Sekibo, reps ready to rework bill. Yes, different tunes from both chambers of the National Assembly. Now, we look at the foreign newspapers quickly. Now, the Daily Telegraph newspaper of UK, glad tidings for Christmas, but perhaps not New Year. Glad tidings for Christmas, perhaps not New Year. The Prime Minister, that's the Prime Minister of UK, Boris Johnson, ends days of speculation by telling citizens that celebrations with families can go ahead. But they will review the situation ahead of the New Year. So perhaps it is not Uhuru yet. But the Times of UK is also reporting that Boris Johnson has also urged citizens that they should take the tests before visiting families. So that is how it's going to pan out. But again, they will review things ahead of the New Year. So it's Christmas, celebrate your Christmas as usual in the UK, but New Year, things may be different. Now, the Financial Times, Putin wants military response to Eastern encroachment by NATO. Rhetoric hardens alliance. U.S. talks seek to ease tension. Alarm in Western states. Yes, Putin, excuse me, Vladimir Putin is warning that appropriate military technical measures, that's how he puts it in his words, in response to threat of NATO extending to its borders to Russia will be expected if that is done. So, Ukraine will Russia attack Ukraine under the guise that NATO is extending its spheres of influence to its borders. Well, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the U.S. is to disburse 500 million COVID test kits to the Biden administration, putting that out there as part of measures to fight the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Of course, the Omicron variant, which is also spreading like wildfire in the U.S. Ruben Rufai. No, Rufai is not here.
Rufai isn't here.
Okay, shout out to Rufai.
Shout out to Rufai. Hope you're feeling better.
Okay. Tudu and Oji, over to you.
Okay, let's start with this, bill, Electoral Act Amendment Bill. We discussed it earlier in the headlines, but in one of the papers that you were reporting, some senators were quoted as saying that no direct primaries, no budget 2022. I don't think, we should go to that extent. As I said earlier, I do not see what can still not be discussed. We shouldn't have this kind of binary, Manichaean oppositional politics that is beginning to emerge, whereby the president and the governors are on one side, apparently, seemingly, and then the lawmakers, are on another side. It doesn't have to be that way. What should prevail at the end of the day is the public interest, what is best in the public interest. And it will appear that, look, majority of Nigerians think that, yes, electoral reform was long overdue and that we now have an opportunity to move the needle. And then, of course, whatever other reviews can be done subsequently. Since it's not about ego, it's important to stress that point, that it's not about ego. No. Nigerian Governors Forum versus National Assembly, and then we'll see who will win. Once you, cast it in that mode, then, of course, progress will not be made. The second issue that you brought up, which I think is important, is this COVID-19, mass vaccination program. Now, I think the story is back in the news significantly, because yesterday the president took his own booster jab. And that was projected by the MPACDA, the Primary Healthcare Development Agency, as a very good example. The president showing the necessary leadership. Before then, Dr. Shuaib, who is the head of the MPACDA, had made a point that COVID-19, the way it's going, is beginning to look like the disease of the unvaccinated, and that Nigeria has more than enough vaccines. Where do we, in the real sense of it, when you compare us, for example, to Morocco? You know, Reuters brought a story about Morocco this morning. Morocco is the leading country in terms of vaccination. Out of its about 38 million population, Morocco has been able to vaccinate twice, 2 jabs, for over 22 million people. We'd like to see that kind of rollout in Nigeria. And unfortunately, the NCDC, I think earlier in the week, that's the Center for Disease Control, reported that there has been a spike up to about 500% in the infection rate in Nigeria, particularly with this Omicron and Delta variant. So I think government still needs to do a lot more in terms of risk communication, efforts to mobilize the people, to continue to conscientize them. This is Christmas, and people are going to be going about up and down like smallpox in the spirit of the season. So people should just be advised not to place themselves at risk. And according to the NCDC reports, only 17 states and the FCT have been doing a lot in terms of this mass rollout, mass vaccination program. Other states are not doing it, and that includes your state, Delta State.
And my state.
And your state too.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you are both from
Although we
there.
are doing well in my state of residence.
You're doing great.
Oh, in Lagos, yes, you're doing
My
well.
state of
residents,
residence.
Ogun State,
in Ogun State.
our
Yes, Ogun
state.
was #1 on the assessment that was done.
Naturally.
But Ruben, the problem, we shouldn't even call out government whether they have enough, because it's not as if the citizens go out there and they cannot find vaccines. The vaccines are there. Let's exhaust that before we start calling on government. The citizens are not coming forward. That is the problem. That is the problem.
That's the importance of this photo that's on the front cover of this day, and I believe another paper, I can't recall which one. It's important that President Buhari is rolling up his sleeves publicly, because we've seen other presidents, haven't we, playing politics and sort of being clandestine in their approach to taking a vaccine, which is completely ridiculous. This is going to save lives, one hopes, and I suppose that's why he's done it. But I do have to say, just one of the headlines that caught my eye this morning in the U.S. paper, was it Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, the 500 million.
Yes. Can you
kits.
believe it? America and capitalism were in 2021. They call themselves, what, the greatest country on earth. They're only just rolling out 500 million COVID test kits because they had to pay for it. You know, in American healthcare, there's no free lunch. You
No,
can't
but
even
I think what Joe Biden is rolling out is free to the
That's what I'm
citizens.
saying. So if you let me finish, Mr. Fenny. It's finally free in 2021. That's a disaster. It's been free in the UK from the get-go. In America, they were paying $15 to like $40, $45, depending on where you live. And I just can never get over the fact that America, a country as great as that in many ways, is so backward and abuses their own citizens so appallingly when it comes to healthcare. You can't get even paracetamol for free in America. You pay through your nose for every tiny thing, even a COVID test.
Is that not the headquarters of capitalism?
This is the thing. So
So what's the problem if people pay
No, it is
for
a problem.
services?
There's a place for capitalism. I'm going to sound like a progressive here. Since Joe Manchin has caused the palaver that he's done, I'm going to take on the capitalism, the progressive toga here. It's really unfortunate. I mean, there's a place for capitalism, but not in healthcare. This story, I think, speaks volumes about their system. It's actually embarrassing.
Well, they are moving forward.
Finally. Goodness.
I wanted to talk about a story on this day that also caught my attention, which is also on the Electoral Amendment Bill, the governors that have been praising Buhari for, declining the bill. There's Fayemi and Autumn. Autumn praised the president on the issue of direct primaries, but he condemned him on the issue of electronic transmission of results. But what I thought Fayemi said was quite funny. He says that, he kind of dismissed the fact that, dismissed the insinuation that the president was dancing to the governor's tune. I mean, but you could see this now, that they are all coming out immediately to praise him.
No, well, the governors have always wanted the president not to ascend because they oppose the imposition of direct primary as the only option to pick candidates by political parties. So you can expect that they will commend, praise, and you are what was the other word I want to use now? At least praise the president for doing what he has done. But the way forward, I think, like Ruben rightly said, this is not an ego trip for any body or group of persons. What we are seeing is democracy in action. The Parliament or the National Assembly passed a bill. The President opted not to assent to that bill. There's the next logical step. The senators and in fact, the legislators who infused this clause should now go ahead and defend their clause. If they cannot do so, because now we are seeing discordant tune from the Senate and the House of Representatives, if they cannot override the President, the next logical thing to do is for all parties to sit down, remove the bathwater, the dirty bathwater.
Yeah, and save the baby.
And save the baby.
Save the baby.
That's where we should all move to. So there's nothing unusual that is happening. It's democracy in action.
And really, the opinion of the governors is just that. It's neither here nor there in practical terms, I suppose.
And if I may take us back to COVID, two parting shots. Yesterday, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, the Director General of the World Health Organization, said, look, this Utah season, people should just remember that an event cancelled is better than a life cancelled. In other words, people should be cautious. And I also find very interesting.
A very appropriate way to put it.
Yes, a page 49 piece into this day by Mr. Atedo Peterside, titled Atedo Peterside, My COVID Experience. It's an interesting essay that I think that people should read and learn from some of the things Mr. Peterside is telling us this morning in this day.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much,
It can't be overstressed. Thank you. We'll take
You're blessed in the midst of women, Ruben.
Yes, and I'm happy about that.
As always.
Thank you, Mr.